everyone. So we've been asked some questions about my Bible memory and how I retain what I've memorized. So we're going to make a quick video here to show you my system for review. So what I had done previously was I made these flashcards for myself. And so I had 2 to 5 chapters, I think, on each card. So I would take one of these each school day and review those chapters. But now that I've gotten my new Bible, I have 3 different bookmarks. So I put one in where we're reading in Old Testament as a family for our family Bible time. And then I can put another one in where I'm memorizing. And then I can use my 3rd bookmark to mark where I'm doing review. So now I will just go to wherever my bookmark happens to be that day and review usually at least 3 chapters. I might do more than that if I have time that I'm trying to spend in a day, something useful that I can be doing. So I just open up my Bible if I'm going to need prompts, like Philippians, since that's the most recent book that I've done. I can just do that when I'm doing other things, and I don't have to have the Bible open in front of me. Whereas other books, I wasn't as good on reviewing in previous times of memory, so I lost some of what I had memorized. So in order to get this back into my working memory, I've been reviewing now. So 3 chapters on a school day, at least, or I might do more. So right now I've been doing Ephesians, so Ephesians 4, 5, and 6, because how I memorize, I recite, I read the verse, I keep repeating it, and then I keep adding to it. Well, then I'll review previous chapters as I'm memorizing the rest of the book. So if I'm doing Colossians, I'll have repeated Colossians 1 more than I have Colossians 4. So I know the earlier chapters better than I do the later chapters, which on a book like Romans, it took me a long time to memorize because it's 16 chapters. So I had the first chapters better ingrained in my long-term memory than I did my later chapters. So I have to work more on those later chapters in order to get those back into my working memory. So I'm still working on this. So as I go through, these will be better ingrained into my memory, but it's bringing to mind what I've already memorized so that I don't lose it all and have to go rememorize it. So I completed Philippians, I'm not sure exactly when, but I recited the entire book of Philippians again today. I reviewed that. So I can either continue going through where I am in the New Testament in reviewing, or I can review the latest book that I memorized. So since Philippians was the latest book, that's what I've been doing. So I think my next books to memorize are 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. So I'll be starting that probably today or tomorrow. And I'm not sure exactly how long that's going to take me, depending on how much time I get to devote to Bible memory. But we'll see, and thank you for joining us, and I hope that this helps. Oh, another thing, I do close my eyes when I'm reciting on camera. When I'm memorizing, I don't usually close my eyes. I'm usually walking around, pacing back and forth in my room, or we have a big basement, so I like to go down there and walk around, or outside, wherever I may be. But I usually walk, and I don't usually close my eyes. But when I'm reciting on the camera, I do that. So if that's a tip, if you haven't tried reciting with your eyes closed, that might help you to avoid distraction if you're a distractible person, or just to be able to focus. A couple other tips for Bible memory. When memorizing and starting to memorize, try picking an epistle that you are familiar with the author's writing and their train of thought and how they lay out their arguments. So if you're more familiar with Paul, then do one of the epistles of Paul, or if you're more familiar with Peter or John, pick what you know. And then, as you're memorizing, try to follow the author's train of thought. So in Ephesians 1, try to think through the salvation of mankind and how Paul lays that out, and think through Paul's thought process so you don't get stuck on every verse. You can think through, okay, where is he going in this argument, and that can help to remind you of what's coming up next. And also pay close attention and drill in your memory where the paragraph breaks are or where the train of thought changes, so you don't get stuck on those, because I know that sometimes I'll get stuck on what the next paragraph is. So try to focus on those. Let's see, is there anything else that I would suggest? That's what I have right now. I might come up with more things in the future, but if you have any questions about how I memorize, how I review, things like that, post them in the comments here on YouTube or on Facebook on Herding Little Cows, or message us, and hopefully I can get to those.